Okay, so in my last video, not my last video, but in one of my recent videos, I made some extensions to the MTA. Well, not really, because this wasn't a brand new Subway video, but basically, I basically what I did was I separated all the extension, but basically what I did was I extended the I just made I just I don't know how to phrase this, but I made kind of like requests for what the MTA should do. It's like what I think the MTA should do with their subway lines. So anyways, what I did was I separated all the extensions I planned from the last video, and then I changed this one right here. So let's take a picture of this. You see that? So I realized that the J, Z, L, and M trains are like different sizes, I think. So they require different cars, and that some lines, the Queens Boulevard line, are CBTC installed. However, as far as I know, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 trains all use the same, all can use the same cars, so they would. So I didn't really have to add any modifications there. And so now what I did was credit to Transit Fanner Shamari Kinsey for coming up with this idea, because I watched his video about the P and O trains going via Parsons Boulevard and would be a Bronx to Queens line. So basically, what I did here was, I did the exact same thing, but instead, what they do is they go down to Ozone Park Lefferts Boulevard, which actually isn't an ozone park. And then, remember how I extended the C to Lefferts last time? Well, that would actually stay at Rockaway Boulevard, because the O would use that service. And then the P train would go down to JFK Airport and serve all the air train stops in the actual JFK Airport. But it wouldn't make the loop. It would go to Federal Circle, but it wouldn't loop around, because I don't want to put a loop in the NYC subway. And then, now this is going to be controversial here, and many people are going to be wondering how this would happen. But by making the SIR part of the E, what would happen was, what would happen is that this line would run off of R68s, as there would be some R68s, going to, and R46s going to the Queens Boulevard line trains. They would just stop at the station before Queens Plaza on their route. So the Staten Island bound E train and the non-CBTC E train would start at Court Square with the M, which wouldn't be getting our 68s because, well, those can't go on the J, Z, L, or M. Which, I don't know why, but they're just built that way, so I'm not going to mess around with that. But then this specific E would start at Court Square 23rd Street, which is really just Court Square, just on the E and M, and then would go down to World Trade Center. Now here's the fun part. This would then go to Whitehall Street and then St. George, and serve all Staten Island railway stops, and Nassau and Atlantic would reopen. Meanwhile, I don't know if I'm gonna close Arthur Kill Station. It might be too close to Nassau, but I don't really know. I think I'm gonna keep it open though. And so then it'll go all the way down to Tottenville. The normal E to World Trade Center running on CBTC lines would run all the way to Jamaica and then go down to World Trade Center. It wouldn't go to Whitehall Street because that's an extra stop on the E, so it wouldn't be making that stop. And that's also where the Staten Island connection is. So, it just wouldn't be making that stop, really. And then the R would go to Dongan Hills, which means that it would be extended to Fort Wadsworth Shore Acres, which would be in Fort Wadsworth Park. And then it would go over to Grasmere, then Old Town, and then it would terminate at Dongan Hills. Oh yeah, I forgot to switch to my main account. Whatever. I'll do that after I'm done with this. We don't have a long way to go. Scrap the air train because it's pointless after I extended the, I think, P train to JFK Airport. Then the D and the B, now that the P train goes to Co-op City, and so does the 6, if you remember my last video on this, then they have to go there too. So now there are 4 trains and 3 different colors in Co-op City. More specifically, the Parsons Boulevard line for what would be pink, the Lexington Avenue line, which would be green, and the 6th Avenue line, which would be orange. Or which is orange and green. But the Parsons Boulevard line would be pink, because it's not in existence yet, and we don't have a pink line in the subway system, but not like generic light pink. It would be like magenta, some sort of that color. Because I don't really think, well, basically just because I wouldn't mind if it used that. Personally, I would just like magenta pink more than light pink as the line, but really that doesn't mean anything, but it would be one of those two, and in my universe, it would be magenta. And then get rid of the Staten Island Railroad, because the E train serves all those stops now. And then the G train, because the G train would have R160s, not R179s, because we scrapped those. The G train would be able to go back on the Queens Boulevard line, and it would go to Sutphin Boulevard, Archer Avenue. As I don't want to extend it all the way to Jamaica Center, because I am going to, well, basically I just want to make a line terminate at Sutphin Boulevard because it's such a big hub for commuter rails. And I think I'd put a Long Island Railroad stop at Union Hall Street. Well, actually, that's too close. It would be Parsons Boulevard. So anyways, that's it for episode 2. I'm going to keep doing these like this, because I don't really want to make my extensions on screen. I'll do that off screen, and then I'll review them.